Hello? Can y'all hear me? Ooh, sure can now. Sorry. Okay, so we're late rolling, but we're at City Council meeting Tuesday, June 23rd, 2026. It is 6:04. I want to call the meeting to order. And Dina, do we have a quorum?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Okay, so would Roy Ramus please step forward for our invocation pledge? Allegiance to, and the Texas pledge. We do forget that one.
You want the invocation first?
Yes.
Heavenly Father, as we gather tonight to conduct the business of this city, we turn to the words of your Son in Matthew 10, where he tells us, "There is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, and nothing hidden that will not be made known." Lord, you see every action, every motive, every decision, even those made behind closed doors. Help us remember that accountability does not begin with the public, it begins with you. You also remind us that we are valued, that even the hairs on our head are numbered, and that not even a sparrow falls without your knowledge. So we ask that you guide this council with the same care, that same attention, and that same seriousness. Let every choice made tonight reflect integrity, transparency, and respect for the people we serve. Give us courage to walk in the light, wisdom to do what is right, and humility to correct what needs correcting. May this meeting honor you in truth and in conduct. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor
the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Roy. Okay, I'd like to say John 16:33, in the world you will have tribulation, but take heart, I have come to the world. All right, thank you very much. And I wanted to highlight one of the churches. We need to see who all is here. Okay, would you like to come forward and tell us about your church? I met with you last week. Just give us a brief overview. Tell everybody where you meet and a little bit about your church. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. We are Farther West Church. We started in Aledo during COVID, and we currently meet at St. Francis of Assisi Church at 5 o'clock on Sunday night. We have a meal, and then we have a service. If all y'all are going to come, please let us know so we have enough food. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And we had some ladies from the spa, but I don't see that they came tonight, so we'll have to recognize them another night. We have a busy schedule. So we have public comments, and I need to let you know that we have, I think, 13. Once we're over 10, we're set for 3 minutes. So we're going to start the clock at 3 minutes once everybody comes up. So once you come up, please say your name and your address. First, I have Cassandra Tidwell. I don't have 3 on here.
What do you? She has some for the items on the agenda.
So I have,
She has for
on
this.
water, did you do different sheets or just one sheet?
6 and 9, it's all one sheet.
But I did make one for the water.
Okay, so you want to talk on this one, and then you want to do water. So do you have 2 or 3 items?
Well, I have 2 items on the agenda, and then this one, water is.
Okay, Great. Okay, go ahead. 3 minutes, she's setting the clock.
Okay. About the water, I know that, excuse me. My name is Cassandra Tidwell. I live at 428 Birdie Road.
Can you speak loud into the speaker so we can hear
sure.
you?
I was concerned about the water situation, that if the data center is going to be using it, that they're going to use probably from the aquifer, and then that means it'll reduce what everybody has. And so I just wanted to bring that up because I was concerned about it. And on item 6, I do request that the issuance of debt for all these things, the street, the water, the drainage, and sewer projects be brought before the citizens.
Okay, hold on just a second. We'll bring you up on 6 and 9. Those are the two you want to talk on.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay,
6.
so I'll bring you back on 6.
Oh, is that right? Oh,
Yes,
sure.
please. Thank you very much. Okay, next, we have Houston Wingard.
Good evening, and I did provide copies of this if somebody wanted to check it and read it over while I'm doing this. So I'm Houston Wingard. I live at 709 Kingsgate Road. Thank you, Mayor, City Council, and city staff. Over the past few months, I had the privilege of meeting quite a few city residents. When asked, be it our northernmost neighborhoods or our neighborhoods south and east between Interstate 20 and Bankhead Highway, or all points in between, what are your top wants for Willow Park? They adamantly said roads, roads, and water. So same song, road repairs, third verse. At the last city council meeting during the road repairs discussion about Laguna Vista neighborhood, it was stated that asphalt chip seal wouldn't work because of the infrastructure wasn't being addressed, when in fact, the county proposal included reclaimed P2 stabilizer for every one of those roads. This process would break up the asphalt and road base and rotomix P2 stabilizer into the newly created road base, then compact with rubber tire roller. This process creates a durable road base to then apply asphalt chip seal. Having met with County Commissioner Mike Hale and his road repair expert, they stressed that properly addressing the road base and infrastructure is critical to any road repairs that Willow Park is considering. No road repair organization, be it our own Chase McBride and his road repair crews, or our County Commissioner Mike Hale and the county road repair crews, would apply asphalt chip seal, or for that matter, asphalt hot mix overlay without first creating a road base infrastructure that isn't properly addressed. I hope this clarifies the county proposal and instills some confidence in the interlocal agreement that allows city to work with county to repair our roads as funds and county schedules will allow. And while I have your ear, the repair estimates provided by the county commissioners reverses the Willow Park pavement report dated May 2025, are as different as night and days. Looking at just Cook Road and Cook Court, the county can repair those roads for $175,000 versus the management plan of $1,138,000, or a difference of $1,200,000 for just 2 roads. Please prioritize working with the county as much as possible. We get a quality job and cost effective.
Thank you, Houston. Thank you. Okay, next we have Chris Wood. Can come forward talking about domestic violence.
I'm Chris Wood from Willow Park,
You state your address.
184 Crown Point Boulevard, apartment 224.
Thank you.
People in semi-rural communities like Willow Park can face greater barriers when experience intimate partner violence, including isolation, distance from services, and limited access to timely support. more resources and interventions targeting the semi-rural women of Willow Park are needed. Anyone can experience abuse, but women in particular are often socialized to minimize danger, remain agreeable, and put others' comfort ahead of their own safety. Too many women are taught being polite matters more than being safe. They are told not to make a scene, not to be too loud, not to be too angry. But in moments of danger, abuse, or intimidation, those lessons can become deadly. Politeness should never be expected at the expense of survival. Women need to hear protecting yourself is not rude. Setting a boundary is not disrespectful. Raising your voice when you are afraid is not a failure of character. It is self-preservation. It is what people do when they are trying to stay safe. When women are pressured to smile through fear or keep the peace during mistreatment, the damage can leave lasting fear, shame, anxiety, and isolation. No one should be conditioned to endure harm just to appear pleasant. I ask the City of Willow Park and the Willow Park Police Department to take concrete steps. Review current victim assistance practices. Designate a victim services liaison. Post clear domestic violence resources online and provide officers with printed resource cards for calls. Please also build partnerships with Parker County and regional domestic violence organizations so residents can more easily access safety planning, counseling, shelter options, legal support, and follow-up help before fear becomes trauma and before trauma becomes tragedy. Women should never be forced to choose between being seen as being polite and staying alive and safe. Willow Park has the opportunity to say, speaking up is strength, asking for help is strength, protecting yourself is strength. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, next we have Jean Martin.
I'm Gene Martin. I still live at 700 Kingsgate Road.
All right.
So remember when the council was appalled that a citizen would provide a recommendation to an elected official? Remember the document that suggested the city publish a request for proposal for city attorney fees, attorney services, after Pat Cheshire resigned? Did the council review that document for any merit whatsoever? No, the council scoured it for typographical and other kinds of errors, demanded to know who had the gall to provide such a document to the mayor. I was out of town during the previous meeting. In context of that example I just read, about the council's previous reaction to outside input, I find a report of what occurred 2 weeks ago to be totally inconceivable. Did you really deny the mayor, a duly elected official just like yourselves, participation in an important discussion of city business based on hearsay information from an anonymous source? Oh wait, the unidentified information was described as from a credible source. Are we supposed to accept that label of credible source makes all the difference to sanction making a unanimous decision based on what appears to be nothing more than undocumented innuendo? Now, I wasn't here. If that report that I got is wrong, you all have my phone number. I'd like to hear from you. Appreciate that. But if it's right, well, then consider 2 words: transparency and arrogance. For which of these do you want to be known?
Thank you, Jean. Okay, next, Next, we have Roy Kerbin. General topics.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, Councilor. About 9 months ago,
Go ahead and give me your address, I'm sorry.
I have no address. Oh,
I know, right?
221 Vista Drive.
Thank you, go ahead.
About 9 months ago, I joined a group of our citizens to research and develop a home rule policy to serve our town. Our volunteers emerged from a diverse background to tackle this important challenge. Teachers, engineers, a realtor, a former state legislator, 2 attorneys, one of them being paid by the city council, an entrepreneur, parents and grandparents, and a very enthusiastic college student all appeared to help. I was very familiar with this particular aspect of public service. I served as a judge in Tarrant County for 26 years. I was selected to serve on a statewide board, the Policy Analysis Group. Our duty was to focus on the issue of unfunded mandates and communicate our findings and advice to the commissioners for all the counties in Texas, to all the state legislators, and our representatives in Congress. I served on a statewide board to help rewrite the Texas juvenile law, juvenile code. While training with judges from across the United States at the National Judicial College, I was chosen to represent our study group of judges on ex parte hearings and explain what we discovered to the entire body of judges. I have taught classes for the University of Texas at Arlington, Southwest Texas State University Justice Training Center, and Tarrant County's Community College. I have served on advisory boards for mental health for Arlington, the DARE program, and numerous state and national martial arts boards. I discovered that our home rule group was among the best I had ever served with. This was a group of highly educated and experienced citizens who wanted to make a positive difference for Willow Park. Gene Martin did a superb job of keeping our group focused for creating the best home rule policy possible. We examined the 30 most popular programs, narrowed them down to 10, then to 3, then to 1. We examined every policy line by line with constructive discussion and assistance from 2 attorneys. We finally completed our task. One member of the city council attended 2 or 3 of our meetings. He decided that we were guilty of breaking the law and submitted his report to Mr. Messer, who was our attorney for the council. Mr. Messer disagreed with him, and the decision went on. I have one more sentence. Home rule policy was submitted to Mr. Messer for examination. 3 attorneys have participated in the process. It should be included in the November election for consideration by the citizens of Willow Park. And this, with all the boards I served on, the best board I ever served.
Thank you, Roy. Jeanette Kerbin.
Mayor, Council, Jeanette Kerbin, 221 Vista Drive.
Thank you.
I'm speaking here tonight on behalf of my husband and myself, just so to get that clear. We need to briefly address several false and deeply inappropriate accusations that were circulated publicly during and after the recent city council race. Our campaign contributors were publicly called baby killers on social media, and we also were wrongly accused of violating Texas Ethics Commission rules, including allegations related to campaign signs. Those accusations were false, reckless, and they were harmful. For the record, we did not receive a TEC Commission sign violation. The complaint did not result in a finding against us due to lack of evidence and improper filing of the complaint. This fact matters, and it should not have been distorted by people on this council for political purposes. This was a local, nonpartisan city council race about roads, transparency, public safety, responsible growth, and accountability at this city hall. Accepting lawful campaign contributions from individuals with different political backgrounds is not a violation of the Texas Ethics Commission. Candidates are required to properly report and disclose contributions as required. I was the campaign treasurer, and I did that to the nth degree. What is especially concerning is that some current council members were found liking and validating or even helping propagate some of these false and misleading information items on social media, instead of correcting the record or discouraging personal attacks. That conduct undermines public trust and gives the appearance that false accusations are acceptable when used for political advantage. It is also a good old boy political tactic used to discourage anyone else from running for office in the future, running against you. That went far beyond normal political disagreement. There were false ethical accusations were made. Private citizens who lawfully supported a local campaign were smeared. Personal character attacks were made against us and others running in an effort to damage reputations rather than debate the issues that were important to the citizens of this city. We deny any allegations that we violated Texas Ethics Commission rules. We did not receive a TEC violation, sign violation, any violation. We reject the attempt to intimidate, shame, or defame citizens for participating in the democratic process. And I call on every member of this council to reject false political attacks, regardless of whom they benefit.
Thank you. Next, we have Bill Green.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm Bill Green. I live at 224 Vista Drive, just a stone throw from the last two speakers across the street, good friends of mine. A couple quick things I want to go over that I didn't get to go over last week, or the last time that we got together. Council guys, you know, they've come up with, during the campaign, and the things that they want to see done. You know, number one, Squaw Creek, roads, water. But the first day after the election was over, there was a councilman that put online that the most important thing for the city council and for Willow Park is the Beldine Ranch. Nothing about the citizens, nothing about the water, nothing about the roads. That's the important thing. That's got to take all of their time. Well, anyhow, I just wanted to bring that up, that happened in case you forgot. The signs. She just mentioned the signs on that. Falsely accused of having bad signs up. You know, I was standing pretty much in the middle of this room whenever I saw that the newspaper was brought into this. Wound up on the news. But then somebody decided to go look at the signs. And the signs were okay. Nothing wrong with them. Straight to the law. Now, let's spring forward to the election. After the election, according to the city of Willow Park, according to the state of Texas and Parker County, you have 7 days to get your signs down. The three guys that won still had signs up 3 weeks later. They broke the law. Now that's indisputable because it got pictures of it. Anyhow, so that part didn't make the news, I'm sure. License plates. Whenever our duly elected mayor was so happy to be a member of this council in the city that she got a vanity license plate. And she got people blasting her from one side of this city to the other, from the city hall to the council and everybody else about a vanity sign. Let's spring forward to the election. After the election, one of our city councilmen has got a vanity sign on his vehicle. Are y'all blasting him? Are you telling him it's vanity? Do you care about it? No, nothing said there. This whole thing comes back to one thing that I've said over and over and over. You don't like the mayor. You take it out on her. She tries her down. You kicked her out of a meeting. She is the chief officer of the city of Willow Park. That should never have happened, no matter what you were discussing. I lost everything over that on even trying to deal with you guys.
Thank you, Bill. Okay, we have Roy Ramos up next. Potential TOMA violation.
Mayor, council members, members of the public, my name is Roy Ramos. I'm at 101 Trinity Drive. I'm here tonight to address the formal complaint I have filed regarding the potential violation of the Texas Open Meetings Act at the June 9th, 2026 council meeting. At that meeting, council member Scott Smith requested that the council exclude Mayor Palmer from a portion of the executive session concerning the lawsuit involving Aledo and Fort Worth related to the Beale development. The council then voted to remove the mayor from the executive session. This action was reported publicly by the Community News and is visible on the official live stream of the meeting. I want to make it very clear, the Texas Open Meetings Act does not allow a city council to exclude the mayor, who is a member of the governing body, from a properly convened executive session unless a specific statutory exemption applies. There is no such exception for public disagreements, personal conflicts, or discomfort with the mayor's position on an issue. When a quorum meets behind closed doors to discuss the public business, the law requires that every step be handled with strict compliance. Executive sessions are not optional and are not flexible. They are governed by statute, not preference. By voting to remove the mayor from the executive session, the council may have taken an action that was known, willful, and outside the bounds of TOMA. That is why I filed a complaint with the Parker County District Attorney Jeff Swain, Parker County Attorney John Forrest, and Parker County Attorney John Forrest. I've also reached out to the Open Government Hotline of the Attorney General of Texas. This is not about personalities. It's not about politics. It is about the rule of law and the public's right to trust that its government follows it. The residents of Willow Park deserve transparency. We deserve accountability, and we deserve a council that conducts the people's business in full compliance with Texas law. I am asking this council to acknowledge what occurred, to review its procedures, and to ensure that no member of this governing body is ever excluded from an executive session without a lawful basis. The public should not have to file complaints to ensure that the law is followed. Gentlemen, I'm not going to ask you to be nice like everybody else has, because in my opinion, that would be like asking a snake not to slither. Thank you.
Thank you, Roy. Okay. On number 2, we have 4 items listed on the consent agenda tonight. These items are considered routine or housekeeping by the City Council and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion of items unless requested by a council member, in which the item will be removed, discussed, and voted on separately. Approval of the consent agenda authorizes the city manager to implement each item in accordance with staff recommendation. Item 2 is to approve the regular city council meeting minutes from June 9th, 2026.
The number 3.
Okay. Item 3 is to approve Resolution 2026-28, updating signatories for Citibank account reflecting changes in personnel. Item 4 is to approve Resolution 2026-29, updating signatories for the police seizure fund due to changes in personnel. Item 5 is to approve Resolution 2026-31, supporting the appointment of the Parker County Judge Pat Dean. as the primary voting representative and the Wise County Judge J.D. Clark as the alternate representative to the Regional Transportation Council. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the regular city council meeting minutes dated June 9th, 2026.
And do we have a second?
You can do it
Second.
all as one motion.
We have a second?
Approve it all as one motion. The
Do we need
consent
separate or
agenda,
one?
you can
Either
do
way.
each one.
I'll just do separate. It's fine.
Okay. I'm sorry, in the second?
I have a second.
Okay, thank you.
Nathan's the second. All in favor? Everybody? Okay, thank you.
I'd like to make another motion to approve Resolution 2026-28, updating signatories for city bank accounts as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
I'd like to make another motion to approve Resolution 2026-29, updating signatories for the police seizure fund as presented.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, last one.
All in favor?
Vote.
All in favor? There you go.
And I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2026-31, supporting appointment of the Park County Judge Pat Dean as the primary voting representative and the Wise County Judge J.D. Clark as the alternate representative to the Regional Transportation Council.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, it looks like all of them. You got them. All right, we're going on to 6. Okay, on 6, Cassandra Tidwell wants to come up and talk about 6. Passing on that one. Okay, you're the only one listed there. Okay, so the regular agenda item 6, discuss and take action regarding the issuance of debt for street, water, drainage, sewer projects, including but not limited to Squaw Creek Road project. So it was put out by Eric and I'm guessing Michelle. Are you going to present?
No, I will.
Eric's going to.
Yes, ma'am. So I think the only course we have from now up until November is to consider a tax note of a dollar amount in order for street repairs. After talking with staff and talking with Jake and Eric Maha as well, we could probably do up to $6 million for street repairs for the city of Willow Park. That way it kind of rolls right in line with what we have as far as a debt cliff coming in, but we'll come underneath the debt cliff, so that way, again, we have the opportunity to lower taxes and go below no new revenue rate, which is what I always want to do every year. So the discussion for the council is to see where everybody's at about potentially doing a up to $6 million city roads package that we can, once, depending on how it goes, we can then look at addressing certain roads, which can include Squaw Creek project, but we have no funding mechanism to take out water for that. I don't know if everybody looked when they walked in, there's a giant water line right there from the Squaw Creek Road that I know people were saying that the water line was fine. There's no problems there. We don't need to redo that road. We don't need to redo the water line. And we had a huge break.
Yep.
I believe Chase said it was about 40 feet of pipe broke, which caused the residents in and around the Squaw Creek area to be without water and be on a boil notice. If we were able to proceed forward like we wanted to in February, crisis averted. We would have already been started on that project. But we're dealt with the hand we have, so this is what I think is the best solution for our city to move forward, so we can start getting more roads done. And then further, we can look at trying to address water since we can't do it with the tax note.
And Chase, this isn't the first 40-foot section we've replaced, right?
No, to my knowledge, this is the third.
Yep.
Can you go into the difference in what a tax note is compared to a
Yeah,
typical?
I'm not a professional at this, but I do know a little. So a tax note is, we'd have to take it out and we'd have to repay within 7 years. So you're looking at taking, a dollar amount and it's repayable in 7 years versus doing something that would be, there'd be a certificate of obligation, which is typically a 20-year to a potential 30-year repayment plan. So you have a lot more that you have to pay upfront When we looked at our finances, we can do this, and we can keep our INS rate down. So we have the opportunity to lower taxes again and go below the no new revenue rate, which is, again, something that I seem like I'm the only one who likes lowering taxes, so I'm just going to continue to push it.
Eric, do we need to identify roads when we start this? I mean, do we start at the CFP and just start?
So again, since we can't take out a CO on water, we don't have we don't have funding in our water fund in order to do a Squaw Creek project. So we'd have to take out debt, which we cannot do on water. We don't feel that we have the money to do it for this giant of a project, so we don't have that money. So what we are doing is we are applying with the state to try to get up to $10 million of funding through SWIFT. I believe it was House Bill 500, is that correct? Yeah, it was House Bill 500 of the last session, so they've designated, I believe, up to $2 billion? Or one-something billion? Yeah, just a little over $1 billion that we can apply for water leaks.
Good.
And also kind of upsizing water lines. So we have a couple areas with water leaks that we were going to target in our Squaw Creek project. So this would be applicable up to that. We'd apply up to $10 million for that. And then our West Oak neighborhood, that's within our ETJ that we serve water to.
Yeah.
We are going to apply for federal funding for that to have that one done, since we can't take out CO on it.
So I have a question on that. So you're talking about this neighborhood because of their income. And we started out talking about that neighborhood qualifying, I think you were saying federal funds, so qualifying. And Michelle, I mean, you and Chase know more about this than I do for sure, but.
You go ahead, Chase.
The question is, if we are looking at that neighborhood for qualifying, how do we double what we're going for and not stick to the neighborhood? How does that grant work? We're not putting us at risk in getting more. How does that work?
We had a meeting with Texas Water Development Board 2 weeks ago, I believe, and we got some more updated information. We're no longer allowed to use to do the census block. We have to use the census tract. So we're not be able to block out an area, which was our game plan.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're $2,000 under the household median income, the state's average. But we have to do the tract, which is the entire service area of Willow Park, which knocks our household median income to around $131,000.
Right.
So we're basically going to lose points with that subdivision.
And then we also can apply for more money within the state, up to $10 million for our population.
Yeah, which that's agenda item number 7.
Yep.
So I don't know. We can.
Since it directly ties within the road project as
Yeah.
well.
So
This is
we were
also-
looking at amending the resolution and changing it to the full $10 million cap, which is what we could possibly win up to for the grant, and add more projects within that $10 million. And
When we do that grant, do we have specific streets and areas, or is that just like a slush fund that you use? How does that work?
basically, the city would determine which projects they want to apply the grant for.
Okay.
And based on the grant scoring system, you get points for household median income, which now that it's the entire service area of Willow Park, we'll basically not get any points for that because we're
Right.
well over the state. But, you know, potentially adding Squaw Creek, we will earn points for that project because it is shovel-ready. The engineering is completed, so we will earn points for that. That'll give us just a higher probability of winning the grant.
Okay.
Does the water loss in that area factor in?
Yes,
at
that
all
is,
as well?
yes, the grant actually has
Should earn some
three
points for that.
stipulations on the grant itself, and water loss being
That
the
should be a merit alone.
major
That should be
component.
the number one point
Okay.
for that.
Yes.
So Eric, you said that this is, if we do this on a tax note, I'm
No.
switching gears on
No,
you.
go ahead.
If we're talking about $6 million over 7 years and financing that, that's about $1 million a year we'd be paying back. We're confident that that fits into the budget and our income and our current expenditures, and, you know, that's a chunk of change against an annual budget.
Yeah, and we've got Jake and Eric, you want to come on up here and talk a little bit about it?
I have a schedule that addresses the question.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, good evening, Mayor, Council, Eric Maha with Hilltop. The item just passed around, I think would help answer that question about capacity. There's been discussion of the debt cliff.
Excuse me, can y'all quit talking in the back so much? It's distracting. I'm sorry, but go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. And the first page is a timeline. We may start on the second page, that might be helpful. That addresses some of the numbers. On the second page, the question is, does the city have capacity to issue tax notes for the road project? And on the second page, I know there are quite a few numbers on the second page. What we've done, we've structured the 7-year repayment. That is one of the stipulations of tax notes. You must repay those notes within 7 years. And so on the second page, we've structured that with the 7-year repayment to fund $6.35 million to the project fund. And as mentioned, that's about $1,060,000 a year in debt service. We are being a little conservative in terms of interest rates. I know we've seen some rate movement for the last couple months in our market. It's been somewhat volatile, but 4.65 is the estimated rate. Just to put into context, we took bids today on a 4-year note and came in closer to 4%. So we feel like this is a little conservative for tonight's meeting. And then when we look at the existing debt, that's really the reason the debt cliff and the ability to maintain the tax rate comes into play, is because the existing debt is in column D. The city's existing debt is scheduled to decline next fiscal year, from $2.1 million down to $1.645 million. So there's a natural decline in the city's debt as it's currently scheduled. And so the tax note, going back to the timing on the first page, the thought would be to issue the tax note before the tax rate's set this year. And that would allow the city to start the payments next year in fiscal 27 when the existing debt declines and maintain the tax rate more or less equal or level. And then, going forward, it's purely dependent on property values each year, tax rate. So the second page, I think, helps answer the question that, yes, the city can support $6.35 million within its current INS tax rate. And of course, depending on values.
Yeah.
Right.
What was the interest rate in February? Do you remember that?
Yes, in February, that was back when the CO was being discussed. That was early February. We're averaging about 0.23% higher, I would say, now in today's market. Now, it's a little different because COs, that was the February discussion. We had that being amortized over 20 years. Tax notes were the 7 years. So it's kind of the discussion of, a 30-year mortgage versus 15-year mortgage. You're going to pay higher debt payments on the shorter mortgage, but lower overall. And so with the tax notes, we're about 23, or call it 0.25% higher in interest rates in February. So that helps.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much.
Question. And the timing on the first page, that just shows to issue tax notes prior to setting the tax rate. I believe there's a council meeting scheduled for August the 11th, thereabouts. And so the thought would be to bring it before council that evening for council's approval, if that's the direction that council wants to go.
Okay, thanks, Eric.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you. Okay, I just want to be sure that we're practicing frugality whenever we can, just like our taxpayers are having to do right now. So if using the county to repave our roads is a good deal, we definitely want to pursue that. The city, and that's why I was asking those questions, the city has made a standard practice to issue generic, non-specific debt. And that's why I was asking if the streets or whatever's named instead of just a generic pool that we're coming together for running water lines and Beldine and everything else to purchasing City Hall. Voters should definitely have the opportunity to have new debt on the ballot. And that's what I believe, that we should be able to vote on that. So we're going forward to see if there is a motion
Mayor,
on the issuance of the debt, please?
excuse me, Mayor, Kristen Savant, our bond counsel, do you have anything you wanted to add to that before we close that out?
Okay, state your name.
Hi, I'm Kristen Savant with Norton Rose Fulbright, Mayor, Council, nice to be here. I believe your question was about the specific, maybe the purpose language in, like, for instance, the tax note. So that would just be a policy decision. And really, what the language does is if you're very specific, then obviously you can only use the proceeds for those purposes. The reason sometimes we go general is just because there's usually a change in circumstance. We get the call many times after a debt instrument's been issued, and can we do this? And then we just have to go back to the purpose language. And again, if it's specific, sometimes it restricts your ability to accommodate those changes in circumstances. But it would be a policy decision how you want that drafted for the tax note. But, the fundamental rule is you can only issue it for the purposes for which they're issued. So again, that's for the specific versus the broad language.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have any other discussion before we do a motion?
Yeah, I believe, Eric, let me ask. We had, in this process of going through Squaw Creek, I think one of the main concerns that we heard was the language and that it may have not been defined. Now going through this, looking at some of the same issues while also realizing that, as Ms. Savant just said, that we may potentially need to shift purpose at any point. How do we balance that in an ask like this? And do you have a vision for what that looks like? I know Squaw Creek is obviously it's kind of been the focal point of all of this, but how do we marry the two? And then as we also wait to hear on potential grants and such and timing and all of that.
In my opinion on this one, is we have to keep this one open and broad because we have no idea if we're going to have water money coming in from the state and the federal government. Because if we don't have that, then why do the road if we're not going to do the water project if we don't get money for it, since we can't take out debt for water?
Okay.
But
So
we're
would-
trying as hard as we can to get money from the state.
So we would just make a designation of streets, street
Yes.
road repair.
Streets within Willow
So,
Park.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't be anything else other than
Yeah.
street road repair. Yeah.
No, absolutely.
Yep.
Within the present city of Willow Park, it's
I think-
going to be just what is already there in the neighborhoods. It's not going to be going out for new development places to put in water lines or roads. It's still going to be just central to what's already.
Chase, how does that work?
Developers do that.
Mr. Green, I would say we would want to phrase this as existing roads in Willow Park.
Chase? We were asking about the specific roads, just saying, as Eric was saying, that we're just saying the specific roads that we have now in this city is what we're working
Yes,
on,
yeah,
right?
that'll just be utilized for existing roads. Yes, they will not go to new development. That's what developers are for.
Thank you.
So is it possible that we can time this right, where if the grants come in for the water that we're hoping for, and we approve this as a tax note, that we borrow the money, we get everything financed properly, we get approval for the grants, and then we tear up the road once, we go fix the water, we go put the road back together better than it was, and everything flows like it's supposed to in a good infrastructure project, instead of tearing things up 3 and 4 times or not tearing it up because we don't have the water to go fix underneath it.
Yeah, my understanding, and Chase, if you might have the state.
Might as well stay
Yeah, I
here,
know.
Chase.
Yeah, just.
We're not
walking
done.
on up here, is
On
that the state would announce who gets the funding. I believe it's February of 27 or January of 27.
That is their deadline to have everybody already picked. So I would assume probably late winter of '26, they should start notifying people on whether or not they received the grant or not.
So I have a question. So I know you were meeting with Mike Hale, our precinct 4 commissioner, and when y'all were looking at that, are they the best option once we get the funds to use them to fix more roads like they did before, or what do y'all think?
I'm not going to say they're the best. I will say they're the quickest. And I have not spoken to Mike Hill. I've spoken to Dion, who is his second in command, just
Okay.
to clarify that.
Gotcha.
And he actually did call me. I talked to him yesterday, as a matter of fact, and he was just checking in to see, because they are starting put their schedule together for their road projects. So He was just checking to see where we're at on what we were deciding to do.
So
But
if
they
we
are
get some
in it.
debt, we can talk to them more about that, right?
Yeah, I mean, if that's the decision.
Does Parker County do concrete?
No, not to my knowledge.
Yes, so I think that's more of a question of road reconstruction versus road repair. And what's the long-term goodness for us as a city when we talk about whether we want to Band-Aid a road or we want to reconstruct it to where it's good for 50 years. I want roads to be good until I'm
Yes, and Houston touched on that fact. Yes, the county does utilize P2 emulsions. It's a company which is a chemical that they use to mix up for the subgrade. And it does work, but it's a shorter shelf life than a full-blown reconstruction, pulling material, bringing new material in, and utilizing a substance like that.
So will it last like, if we have the county do it, does it only have a shelf life of like 20 years instead of 50 or ballpark? Do you have an idea?
That's hard to say. I mean, I don't do what the county does on streets. I will know that on the 13 roads that we have had done with the county as of last year, we have already received some complaints of deterioration, and we are already having to address those issues.
Canyon Court's a perfect example. I drive that every day to get here.
What is that?
Canyon Court that goes right behind Sonic and all that. They poured that, I can't remember when, but it was literally 2 weeks later, an 18-wheeler went through there and literally rivered the road.
So maybe we should talk to our precinct chair, Mike Hale, about the issues to see what we're going to do. If they have done that, as far as done the roads, then I think he's the perfect avenue to talk to, and that would be you talking to his second in command, or we need to address those, that if we paid for it, we have a challenge, we have a problem, then I think we should do that.
I mean, obviously, I would have to talk to the county. I cannot speak on behalf of the county. I'm sure there's ways that we could, have the county do things different, but it's just going to cost more money. I mean, the county basically quotes us not an easy fix, but the quickest way to get to the
If
road.
we've already paid for it and there's a problem with the product, wouldn't you think we could go back to them and?
Possibly. I don't know how the interlocal was stated. I don't know if there's warranty or anything like that.
So what I think we should do, I mean, this is your arena, not mine, but maybe bring Mike or his second in command in and have them address that. I mean, they're the ones we had do the roads, so I think they should be here to answer those questions, so.
And if that's the decision y'all want to make, I'm more than willing to accommodate.
All right, perfect.
What's our timeline? I mean, obviously, Mr. Maha, you said we could have this back at a projected August 11th meeting. If we're still figuring out what we want to do, what is kind of when do we need to let you know something one way or another if we're going this avenue? What is as council puts their heads together, what does this look like for us, and when does a decision need to be made?
Yeah, that's a good point. And tonight's not really an action item, but I think this discussion helps answer that question. If the target date is to have council approve a tax note on August the 11th, we'd want to send that to banks. Typically, it's 3 weeks before that date. So at that date, 3 weeks before August the 11th, we have it penciled in for July 21st. So by that date, we'd want to have a good understanding on what projects need to be funded, how much, and the repayment term. The repayment term is pretty simple. It's going to be 7 years. So it's more just the amount the city wants to fund and the project description. And then we'd send those terms to the banks, allow them 2 weeks to bid, and then we bring that back to council on the 11th. So I would say in terms of amount and projects to help us, July 21st. And that would allow us to close prior to the city setting the tax rate for 2027.
Okay. And we have a meeting on the 14th, and that's the next regularly scheduled meeting. That's the last opportunity to do that before that.
Yeah,
So we have one meeting.
We need to be also, if we consider this, is planning it for our budget for 2027 calendar year. We have to know kind of what we're doing so we can plan the budget accordingly.
I believe the last page in the packet, I didn't mention this earlier, but we did do a sample debt schedule on a 7-year repayment for potential water projects. So that may be helpful in those discussions.
Can we do that?
It's about $3.5 million funded over the same 7. You can combine water and roads in one tax note, We can show the payments separately, some on INS, some from water. So that's what the last page shows.
Jake, do you want to come up here and talk about that? Why?
Next. You're up, Jake.
So I think in our discussion, as Eric mentioned, on the general fund side, we have the debt capacity in order to keep our tax rate flat or, at the no new revenue rate to take on the $1 million payments that we talked about, right? The issue would be if you also want to do the water, how do you pay for that piece? So the additional, I think it's 3.6 million to do the water line. We don't have the current, cash flow right now in the water fund to pay for that. We just don't. It's roughly $600,000 a year to pay for the water because it's a 7-year project. If it was a 30-year under like a CO, we probably could make that happen, but we don't have an extra $600,000 a year in our water fund. We could financially afford that right now. I mean, the only way you'd have to somehow borrow from other funds to make that work. But between, again, just the shorter repayment schedule and, the legal fees that we've had on the water side over the last few years, just from a cash perspective, you wouldn't have it available.
Okay.
Again, unless you're going to dip into another fund and borrow from that fund to make this work. But then that limits you on all kinds of other stuff, other projects in these other funds that money was supposed to be for potentially, right? Like think of like your wastewater, the buy-in from Hudson Oaks. Well, they paid us money for that. Well, hypothetically that's there, but again, does that restrict your ability now to expand that? Because you need that, now that money that we were counting on to do that expansion has now been used for this, right? So there's a big risk in doing that. So that's why I think why you mentioned, Eric had mentioned that the water piece would be tougher, again, until you know more on some of the grants potentially.
And you're involved with the grants as far as?
I'm not involved with the grant process, no.
Jason's
I'm just more
doing
looking
that
at the
with the
financial
city?
side of, assuming we didn't get the grants, would we have the ability to repay, and again, just looking at that number right now, I don't think we would. Or it would be very tough. The water fund alone couldn't do it, right? We'd have to figure out other sources to make that happen.
The grants would be Chase, Michelle, and then Derek Turner, our engineering.
Good.
Thank you, Jake.
So it seems to me that the discussion more tonight is obviously the road funding, not which roads, but this being our only avenue, is this the avenue we want to take? Is that how you're phrasing it? Not necessarily to define the purpose tonight, but to gather confidence or lack thereof for this moving forward, or can you kind of?
I mean, either way, we're going to do something great for our city, right? So if we get the water funding from the state and federal government, we can get Squaw Creek redone and all the adjacent roads with that and put together a great project for them, stop more of the pipes bursting, water boil notices, things of that nature. If we don't get that, then we have whatever dollar amount we decide to do many, many, many roads within the city of Willow Park.
Yeah.
And I look forward to a lot of people getting great roads.
We've been wanting that for a good while. That would be lovely.
Council-
Okay,
excuse
so we're
me, I'm
going to do the
sorry.
debt?
Before we move on, I just wanted, did you, council, have any questions for Ms. Savant that's here regarding the CO of anything?
No.
Okay.
Okay, so do we have a motion for the debt issuance at this point?
I'd like to make a motion to instruct staff to pursue the issuance of a tax note up to $6 million with the appropriate parties for existing roads within the city of Willow Park, Texas.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Everybody, there you go. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, sir.
All right, number 7 is to consider approval of a resolution 2026-30, amending resolution 2026-26 by adding additional water line replacement projects to the proposed West Oak subdivision HB 500 TWDB grant application. And here is Chase again.
Yes, good evening. As we already touched on, we are requesting amending the resolution to water system improvements and up it to the 10 million to where it gives us more leeway to decide what projects we want to apply for.
We talked a little about the different information that y'all are getting back and forth, so you're still working on that, I guess? Or the 10 million's where your target is right now, right?
Well, that's just the cap for our population for the grant.
Gotcha. Thank you, Chase. You've done a lot of work there. Does anybody have a motion to move forward?
I'd like to make a motion that council approve Resolution 2026-30, amending our Resolution 2026-26 by adding additional water line replacement projects to the proposed West Oak subdivision via House Bill 500, Texas Water Development Board grant application as presented.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Donna has a second, and then...
If we can have a slight discussion?
Okay,
I'd like
want
to
to go
thank-
backwards? Yep.
No. I just want to thank Phil King's office, specifically Ashley, for helping us navigate through this and getting us the right contacts we need in order to apply for the maximum amount of funding. So I just want to make sure she knows. Thank you so much, and thank you, Phil.
Okay, so let's go forward. You want to do a motion again?
No, we don't need it.
You already did a second?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we can go forward. Everybody wants to vote? All in favor? There you go. All right, we're moving on to 8. Is a presentation of the comprehensive plan survey results. Tony, you're doing this one?
Mayor and council, we have Robert Hanna from ZACTAX presenting a
We've met.
kind of results of what happened for our survey, community survey report. I do want to identify the fact that it's a presentation to council, not an open forum discussion.
Thank you. And I just need to get the presentation on the screen. Okay, thank you so much. My name is Robert Hanna. I'm a recovering city manager. Spent the last 25 years working for cities, just like Tony has. Thank you for your attention tonight. I'm going to walk you through these survey results. This is the initial part of your comprehensive plan. We had 298 responses. They were all self-selected. So this is not a random, statistically valid sample. It's important to understand. I wouldn't make long-term necessarily policy decisions off this, but it gives you a good understanding of where the attitude of the citizens that responded were. Does that make sense? Okay. So 298 responses. There were 18 questions. It was done over a 12-week period. So the intent was to have enough time for people to respond on multiple platforms. Some of those platforms were a postcard, a QR code, local businesses. We had posters that they could fill out, multiple Facebook posts. There are web blasts and SMS messages as well. From a standpoint of a cross-section of the community, 96% of the respondents either lived in the city or in the ETJ. 94% were homeowners. 46% were between 35 and 54 years old, and 31% were over age 65. It was a very good sample, except for younger voters, younger residents from 1834. They just did not manifest based off the survey methodology that we used. One of the strategies we'll have going forward is more in-depth engagement on the younger members of the community in our more targeted, focused opportunities for citizen engagement.
How do you do that, Robert?
We're going to have events in which we invite the citizens to come and share their ideas. Some of them will be planning charrettes, where we talk about what do you want your community to look like in the future. Some of them will just be more listening sessions that kind of lead up to that planning charrette. Great question there. So all 12 neighborhoods participated, some to a larger degree than others, but we did get representation from all 12 of the major neighborhoods, as well as the ETJ areas, both north, east, and south. Some of the responses that we received, so when we asked, residents kind of reached the same words again and again, what makes Willow Park so great? And it was community and civic engagement. These are the things that they think are good to describe Willow Park. parks and open space, quality of life, a small town character. These are things I hope everybody can see and be proud of. It's what makes the community a home. Top 5 planning values. What do they want? What methodology do they want to use for planning decisions to be made? One was smart growth, and the other was community and civic engagement. So throughout this survey response, you're going to see a theme of involve the community, listen to their needs, requests, and desires, and do that in a smart growth fashion or a growth pattern that's sustainable and well-planned. Also, small town character, quality of life, and economy and fiscal responsibility were also planning decision methodologies they wanted us to look at. Some of the biggest strengths, again, the small town character, location and access, local businesses, parks, trails, and community spirit. One citizen wrote that Willow Park feels approachable and friendly, small, and while being close to everything that you might need. Some of the biggest challenges, road repair, we've heard a lot about that today. Parks and green space, growth management, how you manage the growth that's coming. You're in a growth corridor, you're going to grow whether you like it or not. How you make those planning decisions, and this is one of the reasons why you're addressing the long-range comprehensive plan right now. Infrastructure gaps, and then city leadership as well. So priorities for the plan to address, property taxes. Most survey respondents cited a wide margin across all ages and incomes of property taxes were concerned. Roads and streets, water supply, aging infrastructure, and elected official effectiveness. And so we wanted to drill down a little bit on what that meant. So across the survey responses, residents expressed hope for governance that's really unified and transparent and community-focused. Many respondents shared a desire to see elected officials work collaboratively towards shared goals, with decisions that reflect the priorities and input of the broader community. Their overall message was less about frustration, right, and more about possibility. Residents believe Willow Park has a strong future potential, and they want to see its leadership effectively lead that. That citizen comment was encouraging open public input while maintaining order and preventing disruptive behavior that undermines productive dialogue. On the property tax question, we wanted to do a little deep dive on that as well. So Willow Park ranks third lowest compared to the 7 neighboring cities, 42 cents per hundred. That concern, though, is flat across every age group. This is not just a senior issue. Everybody, all 298 survey respondents said, hey, property tax is an issue, right? The working ages of 35 to 54 were some of the largest blocks that cited that as an issue. It's likely being driven by appraised values versus your tax rate. You can see that your tax rate is very competitive with the other communities. From my professional experience, I'll say that property tax is a concern across the state of Texas right now. In fact, there are many campaigns that deal with this very issue. How are we going to address and solve property tax in the state? I think property taxes are really an affordability driver issue. Citizens can't go to the gas station and lower the gas price. They can't go to the grocery store and barter for cheaper eggs and milk, but they can come to the elected officials and they can talk about their tax rate. It's one section where they have agency, and so this is likely a reason why you see some respondents talking about it. There is a north-south divide in the community. North is maybe the older part of town from an infrastructure standpoint. So road repair is a major concern, communication, satisfaction, the level with which they feel communicated to, and then of course the water supply concerns. I would say that in a growing community like Willow Park, I would be concerned if these weren't concerns for the community. This is normal responses from the citizens, wanting to be engaged, wanting to have input in the solutions that y'all are going to implement. On the 10 to 20-year vision, what opportunities should Willow Park pursue in the next 10 years? These are lower responses than we really thought we might see just from an incident standpoint, and likely that goes back to the scientific nature of this survey. We just didn't have enough respondents. And so one of the things we want to do in our future reach-out moments to the public is get more cohesion around some of these responses so we can get those percentages at a higher level. We'd like to see 30, 25, 30, 40% on some of these. But
I have a question. So the response that I got from people calling me is they felt like, and that might not be an option, you tell me, that as far as what's your income and trying to get private information from them, that seemed like it was a deterrent. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. So if they won't do that and your survey is very low, is there a way around that, not to be intrusive on that, or you need that information, so you got to do it?
Yeah, Tony, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe we asked an income question on this survey.
Oh, sorry.
We intentionally didn't because we wanted to create an open environment for citizens to respond.
So I don't know what they were referencing. They were
Sometimes there
felt
are
intrusive
other surveys out there maybe that they were confused with what we were doing.
instead of yours.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
that's right, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
That's a possible opportunity, but we specifically didn't ask income.
That's good. Thank you.
But, 10% business industry and retail growth, again, road repairs up there, parks and recreation, community hub development, controlled growth and standards. And that goes back to kind of that maintaining that small town feel. As we engage the community further, like I said, we want to further define some of these things and get additional citizen input to make sure that those are the areas that people want us to focus on. So tenure shapes perspective. In a lot of these surveys, you'll see age of the resident kind of pushing different directions on the issue. That wasn't the case in Willow Park. It was really, how long have you lived here? That's been the main driver for some of these respondents and the issuances that we saw. So that small town feel, it may be a larger concern if you're newer than if you're an established resident. You can see the percentages for yourself. The oranges is where we highlight there's more of a preponderance on that side of the equation than not. Again, not good or bad, but we found it interesting that it really wasn't age of the respondent. It was more how long they've lived in the community. So 4 takeaways from council and kind of where we see the survey work coming. Property taxes are a concern citywide. It's really not a senior issue. It's affordability and transparency issue. And one of the best approaches is just respond with clear communication on appraisal realities and how revenue is invested and how taxpaying dollars are spent. 2, it's tenure, not age. That's the dividing line, which is a unique aspect of your community. Maybe that's something you can lean into. Smart growth, that desire for sustainable growth, really unites both of those. People who have been here for a while, people who haven't been here for a while. Concerns cluster geographically, so depending on what neighborhood you're in, your concerns change a little bit. And then there really is a clear mandate out of this work to, the residents love the small town character. They fear growth that really erode that, okay? They will only expect their roads, water, and infrastructure to keep pace with the level of growth that y'all are experiencing. And that's not an easy thing. It's hard to do. So how to reach the residents? One of the things that we saw, we asked, how are satisfied you are with current city communications? And only 28% said that they were satisfied. But that's come up, I think, from previous surveys too. So that's good work on the staff's part. One of the things that is a takeaway from me here on this is that, as in other data points, this is not a scientific survey, right? And so if you had more respondents, your results would look different than they do now. But based on what we have, I think in today's world, you have to have a multifaceted messaging approach. You just can't use social media. You just can't do water bill inserts or direct mailers. You have to use everything at your disposal. People are so busy. It's not that they don't care, it's just they're busy with their lives. And so when you try to reach out and notify them as an owner about what's going on in their community, hitting multiple platforms and different vehicles is going to allow that message to be most received effectively. Does that make sense? And then, come to the end here. So what happens next? We take some of these findings along with some of the work we do. We try to turn them into planning goals. These upcoming engagements, there'll be 2 upcoming public workshops in which we further engage the community in more detail, almost surgical ways, to get their understanding of what it is they want their community to look like. We want everybody to stay involved at willowparkplan.com. You can look for project updates, event announcements, and also you can review these plan elements as well. And then if there's any council direction tonight, we're happy to listen to what that might be for some of this stuff. It's really early in the planning process too, so I'm not surprised you don't have anything specific to say. But we sure want to provide an opportunity to listen to y'all as well. That concludes my presentation.
Okay, do we have any other discussion before we move on? Any questions? Thank you very much, Robert.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, number 9, Cassandra Tidwell. Did you want to talk again on this one?
I'm Cassandra Tidwell at 428 Verde Road. On number 9, I understand this business needs to do their messaging, but I think a digital messaging can be a traffic hazard. And so I don't know what other thing that they could do except maybe have put up signs on their sign that would tell the different things that they wanted to advertise. But I really think it would cause there to be a traffic hazard.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we're going to do the public hearing, item number 9, to consider approval of a specific use permit SEP pursuant to sections 14.13.001-14.13.004 of the Willow Park Code of Ordinances to allow for a new multi-tenant pylon sign with electronic informative digital message for advertising live bands and more at the top to change every 8 to 10 seconds for the district of Willow Park, an approximately 1.29 acre tract legally described as Lot 8R1, Block B of the Crown Point Addition in Willow Park, Texas, Parker County. Chelsea standing here. Go ahead, Chelsea.
Yes. Good evening, Mayor and Council. City staff received an application for a monument sign at the district that was approved. When the permit was about to expire, it was resubmitted with a new presentation for a monument sign with an electronic message sign at the top for informative purposes. The sign applicant proposes to have the sign change every 8 to 10 seconds with specific information about the upcoming events at the district. All of this triggered the need for a specific use permit. Even though both the shops and the district are owned by Wilkes Development, this is considered an off-premise sign and required a dedicated easement. The SUP passed unanimously by Planning and Zoning Commission 3-0. City staff have reviewed this application and recommend its approval contingent upon the filing of the dedicated easement with the Parker County Clerk's Office. And you can see up here, there's a green arrow that's going to show you exactly where that is going to be located, next to Grounds for Hounds for the district. It is not to exceed 35 feet, and the sign is comparable to the other existing sign with the 10 millimeter full color display at the top. And Chad with Wilkes Development is here if you have any questions.
Chad, do you want to come forward? Hello, Chad.
Hello.
Okay, does anybody have questions for Chad on this sign that we're looking at? It's pretty big. I see the little people.
It's going to be, so there's an existing sign just.
I was going to say, the sun's already there.
Correct. It's
Yeah.
it's identical to the one that is about 300.
This one's a new one, and it matches the existing one. It's
Right.
just a little bit beyond Grounds for Hounds.
So you'll
for the
have
district.
2, but at the top is where you're going to have the digital message,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, the existing pylon is pretty popular. We're full on that one. And as you guys know, the district with Pork and Pig and Luke Casey and other ones down there, they're wanting access and visibility from the highway as well, which led us to this sign, the second one. And then the idea at the top is to, yes, project live events, dates, advertising up there at the top, as well as maybe weather, emergency messages, whatever is needed potentially at the top there. That would change every 8 to 10 seconds to hopefully alleviate any concern with traffic, distraction up there, and we would, if anything, it would be scrolling, not really flashing or moving, and that sort of thing, like a movie screen, just more informative.
Okay, perfect. And you work with the city on that and
Yes, ma'am.
and messaging and
Yeah, we
everything?
got, yep.
Perfect. Anybody else? What we're going to do is open the public hearing at 7:24. Does anyone else want to speak on this item? Gene, you're up.
Well, I had a quick question. Well, first off, you said the 8 to 10 seconds, I think, was to minimize distraction?
Yes, sir. I think the TxDOT has state law, I believe that's 4 seconds, or so, 4 to 5 seconds. It's gonna be-
Well, I'm not sure, that's 4 foot by 12 foot, right? So if you're on the interstate, you can see it probably quarter mile back and still be able to read it.
That seems reasonable.
About, so that's about, what, 2,100 feet, give or take. And it's 70 miles an hour, that's about 1,000 feet a second. Okay.
Sounds like an engineer there. Go ahead.
Well, I was just curious, I couldn't tell from the diagram of the sign, is it just westbound facing or both sides? Okay, because the diagram that showed the electrical box on the other side kind of made that.
I think it was a side view of it, an elevation, so there's
Right.
a section in elevation.
Yeah, I'm just a little curious about the distraction part, because just running some numbers, well, of course, once they go to 3-lane, the rest of I-20, our part will turn into a parking lot anyway.
Thank you. Does anybody else want to speak on this issue? Okay, so I am going to close the public hearing at 7:26. Thank you. All right, item 10 is to discuss and consider approval of a specific use permit, SUP, pursuant to sections 14.13.001-14, 14.13.004 of the Willow Park Code of Ordinances to allow for a new multi-tenant pylon sign with electronic informative digital message for advertising live bands and more at the top to change every 8 to 10 seconds for the district of Willow Park, an approximately 1.29 acre tract legally described as Lot 8R1, Block B of the Crown Point Addition in Willow Park, Texas, Parker County. Do we have any more discussion on this item?
Yes, I have a question for Chad. Are you looking to kind of separate on the pylon the shops at Willow Park and then the district and just kind of have them like that, or are you going to intermingle a little bit between the two as well?
Ideally, it is for the new tenants at the district, because a lot of the room on the existing one, the Willow Park North, the shops at Willow Park occupy that. So the idea is to give the district first dibs on this one, and then fill in any gaps if there's.
I was gonna say, the one in the shops is already full.
Yeah.
completely, right?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions, discussion?
I got one on the 8 to 10 seconds for the advertisements flopping. What did you say a minute ago, 4 to 5? What is TxDOT's regulation?
I believe TxDOT has a requirement as well for these signage, and I think it's 4 seconds. And
I would think it'd be better if we just had that, whatever TxDOT regulations and guidelines, that we follow that instead of actually putting something in there.
Well, that and the scroll versus the flash is a big deal too, and that way it's not popping every single time it's scrolling.
Our ordinance doesn't allow for anything that's flashy, would be crazy.
So you're scrolling. What's the advantage of the 8 to 10, just to give people flying by a chance to actually see it versus flipping every 4 or 5?
I'll say, and I told this to P&Z just the other day as well, that when you park at the Berkshires and watch the First Bank sign, it changes every 8 to 10 seconds.
Yep.
So it was just for comparability.
Okay.
But we're meeting tech dot guidelines by having that, right?
Absolutely,
Doubling them.
Do it.
And doubling them.
yeah.
But when we approved the sign at Delicious, didn't we do only one change per day? So do we need to be consistent or have some kind of consistent guideline of how we do electronic signage?
Yes, and I've spoken with Tony and our city attorney on working on our sign ordinance to mitigate that and have some consistency across the board.
I think that would.
Yeah, Chelsea brings up a good point. The bank, it scrolls every 8 to 10 seconds and it's something different. It's usually the Alito flag or the holiday or the openness and all that other stuff. So it's.
Okay. So do we have more discussion? Are we going to make a motion to go forward with this?
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to approve the specific use permit SUP contingent upon filing of the dedicated easement to Parker County Clerk's office.
And do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Everybody, there you go. Thank you very much. Thank y'all. Okay, and number 11, we are tabling this because we need to have the director to come present. And so do we need to vote on that, I guess?
I'll
to
make a
table
motion
that?
to table agenda item number 11.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, great. Moving on to 12.
Did we do 10? Yep, 9.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the-
We just did it.
I thought that was, okay, thought that was 9, excuse me.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, you're right, that's it.
Of course we're right.
All right, moving on. Okay. So, number 12, what we're doing is review the city's legal expenditures, including attorney's fees, current litigation costs, budget impacts, and any potential measures for cost management and transparency. So I asked for this one, and I have been talking to Andy about that, our attorney. I request this to keep the public informed about how much we're spending on legal services. I feel very strongly that our small city should have one attorney, and Andy and I have already talked about that, instead of us having a team of attorneys. Since we have talked about that, I think that's very important. Our main attorney should be working hard, and we've talked about that, to make sure our city avoids situations that could potentially cause more litigation. So as of May, when I looked at, Michelle is sending me the invoices, and I have so far seen 7 months, and we have 5 more to go, it looks like. Right now, I don't have the latest one we talked about, which I don't have that. You don't have that number, do you?
No, I don't.
Is
I
it
could
gonna-
get it.
Is it going to be higher than last month?
I would think that the general services part would probably be about the same. Litigation for the Toledo and Fort Worth, I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, so June, as far as the payment, was $49,878. So we're just in an area right now, a time that it's costing a lot because you're spending a lot of time on it, right?
Well, how I would address it is, and what I've explained, is that for a city your size, your population, and the amount of services that you require, a range of attorney's fees on a monthly basis should be somewhere between $10,000 to $15,000, I would estimate. And y'all are hitting that range, which is just normal services, ordinances, contract review, council, planning, plats, signage, all those types of things, which you do, and a lot of cities and growing do. The aberrations come when special events happen, like significant land use or border disputes, or personnel issues, which don't happen very often. That's what makes more of an expense for cities. Not just you, but any city that's dealing with that.
But our main issue right now, the expense is the litigation that's so much for us. And like last meeting when we had 4 attorneys and 1 on the phone. And so you and I talked about that before, that, you know, as the council should really consider, do we need 1 attorney?
Yeah, so if you look at that service model,
It's more of a policy decision, I think. So if you have one lawyer, you're going to have a lawyer that has more generalized knowledge and not the specific, more expert knowledge that you're going to need. For example, we're dealing with employment issues, city manager issues, city manager contract. A general lawyer will probably not be able to handle that because employment law changes so rapidly and is so specialized. And we have an employment law section that's all they do, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because it's so specialized. There's so many regulations. And a general lawyer is not going to have that. A general lawyer is not going to have, generally is not going to have the specific land use expertise that our firm and some other firms have. They're not going to have the specific litigation expertise that I think we provide compared to some other firms. Some competitors definitely have that. And so I think it's just a matter of what your need is and how you're functioning. The way that the council has functioned since I've been here has been difficult.
It
And
has.
it's required a much higher level of service than I was at a council meeting last night in the city, similar size, similar issues, Kaufman. The council meeting lasted an hour, not 4.
Right, or 6.
Or yes, and yeah.
Done
I'm not getting
6.
home at 1 or 2 or whatever.
Right.
So it's just a dynamic, it's a difference, and there's some dynamics in your city right now. And part of my goal is to help bring some stability over time. And that I think will happen, I'm hoping sooner than later. I've been encouraged because if you look at the trending of your meetings, say the last 4 or 5 times, like right now, it's 7:35. We wouldn't be at this point 3, 4, 5 meetings ago. And so I just see I see your functioning becoming more efficient model than how it was in the past, and I think it will continue that way. I don't know if it's going to be in a month or 2 months. I can't predict that, but that's the goal, and I'm going to try to do what I can to help that so it can be more efficient. But as far as expertise versus general knowledge, that's a decision I think that y'all need to look at.
And what we've done in the past,
That doesn't have anything to do with. I think I've been in 4 boundary lawsuits between cities, and they are extremely difficult and extremely labor intensive because normally, as in this case, there's a significant issue, property development that's probably going to be very valuable for the victor. And the question is that battle worth fighting for? It's a policy issue. And those, like when Pilot Point Salina case that we won, and one in the Court of Appeals, and then the tollway ended up going where our boundary line we wanted it to be with North Texas Tollway. That was a policy issue of about a 1,000-acre development planned to be on the North Dallas Tollway. Was that worth the battle for 3 years and going to the Supreme Court? And that's a policy issue the council has to decide in the political will. So that's where we are today, and that is going to be very labor intensive and expensive if you're going to be in that battle, if you're going to join that fight.
so right now we are, when I looked at it, $322,000, and our budget was $100,000? I mean, I'm trying to figure that out. If we go to $500,000, we got to figure out what we can afford.
I understand.
Mayor
Right.
Palmer, I would ask that we please not discuss any of our fees based on the legal climate that we're in right now, please.
Oh, I put it on the agenda, that's my agenda, and I can talk about that. And I did get those from Michelle, so I can ask that, and I can get that, and I did get that.
I don't believe it's
So-
an issue of getting it. You have access to it. It's as far as protecting legal strategy and any pressure
Well,
points moving
right,
forward. If we
that's
want-
him, if he wants to do that. I didn't do that. All I'm talking about specifically is how much we've spent for our citizens paying it. That's all.
We do have money in our general fund to
Right.
supplement all of this. So the $700,000 that we were considering doing in roads. Right here, cover our legal fees, and we have plenty of money to spare. Problem solved. Since we already,
We have that much money?
yes,
Plus
ma'am, we do.
fixing the
Jake?
roads.
Oh,
I think Jake went home.
He did, yeah.
He's done. Okay, well, I just wanted to say that, so citizens know exactly what we spent so far. Carol, sorry. Carol wants to talk about that on 12, sorry. Carol Bracken.
Good evening. I'm Carol Bracken. My husband and I have lived at 73 Crown Road for 30 years. I was delighted to see that this council is publicly discussing legal expenses and the effectiveness of its current city council. First of all, I want to say that I don't grudge a good lawyer his pay. I don't grudge anything of that sort. Lord knows this city is in desperate need of good legal counsel. I do, however, think there are some factors that you should consider as you think about the legal expenses you've incurred and the legal strategies you have followed and you are following in the future. Number one, travel time. The amount of money that this council is spending to pay for 1, 2, 3, 4 lawyers to come to Willow Park from Plano is not inconsequential. Number two, the number of attorneys that are attending meetings is also not inconsequential. I agree with Mr. Messer that it's important to have expertise where needed, but there are ways that that expertise can be delivered in a more cost-effective manner. And I would suggest that you explore those. We have spent a great deal of money. I believe the last I heard, over $700,000 had been spent in legal fees on the Robert Half litigation. That would have taken care of a great big chunk of the water expense that was discussed earlier this evening. Next, and I have discussed this before, the need for this council to avail of itself of respected counsel. I stood up here in February and listened to this council disregard the advice of Mr. Messer and other lawyers in his firm with regard to the home rule charter and the procedures that had been followed. Procedures, I might add, that was set by Mr. Messer and his colleagues. If you're not going to pay attention to what your lawyers are telling you, perhaps it's time to talk about a new alternative. Next, you need to have legal advice. You need a lawyer that will tell you hard truths. You need a lawyer that will do that and not just accommodate political goals. That's not serving you. That's not serving the citizens of this city. As we've all talked about this evening, this city is involved in several consequential, serious lawsuits. They're serious in terms of the legal fees that have been incurred to date and in terms of the fees that will be incurred going forward. They're also serious in terms of the amounts in controversy. Again, hundreds of thousands of dollars. This city can't afford a lawyer who won't tell hard truths or whose advice is not considered. Is your current arrangement truly cost-effective for the city of Willow Park and your constituents? Thank you.
Thanks, Carol.
If I could make one comment, just about the litigation. All the claims that have been made by the parties, every party has asked for attorney's fees if they are the prevailing party. So in the trial court, whoever is the prevailing party, that's a legal term that has to be ferreted out by the trial court, but the court has the discretion to award all or part or zero of the prevailing party's attorney's fees. So that's hanging out there. Just want you to be aware of that at the end of the case. And like in the Pilot Point case, we were entitled to all of our attorney's fees as the victory party in that case.
So across the board, not just yours, but others, since I'm sure you study it, what's the percentage that the courts usually give that money back?
Well, it would be hard to put it in percentage, but it would be common for the district court to award the prevailing party attorney's fees. And in the way those are submitted, it's usually through a declaration or testimony of the attorneys giving their opinions on the reasonable and necessary attorney's fees, the amount of hours that it took, the hourly rates of lawyers, associates, and law clerks, whether those rates are reasonable. And then, it's a lodestar factor, what it's called, where you multiply the number of hours billed by the hourly rates, and you get a general hourly rate, and then it's up to the trial court to award all or none of that. Most district courts will award most of that number, sometimes all of that, sometimes not, depending on the factors. In this instance, there are public policy issues that would probably come into play that would affect that decision. I wanted the public to know that is a claim that's being made, and it's on hold. And if the trial court awards Willow Park judgment in our favor, then we have asked for the recovery of our attorney's fees, and those would be submitted for recovery.
So Andy, have they asked for theirs? And if we
Yes,
lose, we got to pay theirs, right?
Every party is making that request.
Wow, okay. Gotcha. Anything else? Okay.
Counsel, if I may address from the standpoint of the staff, is that every attorney, Mr. Messer included, every attorney, every paralegal, every supporting staff member that we have dealt with at Messer Fort has been exceptional.
Agreed.
They have responded to us quickly, efficiently, with an utmost of knowledge and expression of our concern for our city and moving forward. And they have been absolutely exceptional.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
my husband had a comment to me once of that if you spend $100 at a store and it's a dollar store, so you buy 100 things for $1, or you buy one thing for $100, you still spent $100. So us using multiple attorneys versus one, we're still within our $10,000 to $15,000 range per month of what Mr. Messer has said we should expect for our city. So we're still within it, using multiple attorneys, getting exceptional service, getting experience and expertise from those attorneys to get our requests done efficiently and effectively as possible, which is also more effective for our costs because we're getting experience and expertise for those items instead of one attorney having to research those items of which he or she is not versed in to have to find the answers for us. So I would like to commend Messer Fort that they've done, like I said, an exceptional job. So.
Okay. Thank you, Tony. All right, we appreciate that. We went over the numbers, so I just want the citizens to know the numbers. That's what they are. So now we're going to go to executive session in accordance with the Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, Chapter D. The City Council will recess an executive session, closed meeting to discuss the following. Item 13, Section 551.071, consultation with City Attorney, City of Aledo, Texas, and City of Fort Worth, Texas, versus City of Willow Park, Texas, in Parker County cause number CV 260175, in Parker County District Court, 43rd District, Belding Ranch. Item 14, Section 551.071, consultation with attorney, City of Willow Park versus Half and Associates, cause number CV 23-2017, Fort Worth Water Project. Item 15, Section 551.071, consultation with city attorney, charter and charter commission legal issues. Item 16, Section 551.074, personnel matters, interim police chief, interim assistant chief. The time now is 7:48. We're going to go in closed sessions. Thank you very much. He's just looking for food. I know what he's doing. Every time.
There may or may not be cookies.
Doors closed.
Okay, we're reconvening into open session. It is 9:15 p.m., believe it or not. Okay, we are skipping 17, and we're skipping 19. And so I think we're going to,
Before we do
we're going to
that-
have the speakers.
Before we do that, Andy, do we need to have any motions for item 16?
16 is an executive session. If anybody wants to make a motion reconvening an open session on any of the items in executive session, the mayor could open the floor.
Are we going to talk about what we're doing first, though?
No, because right now, we're between 16 and 17. And so he's asking if there's any consideration for anything we discussed in executive session for that to be done now before we get to 17. I think
Okay.
that's what you're saying. Is
So on 16, section 551.1074, personnel matters, interim police chief, interim assistant chief. So do we have any motions on that?
I would like to make a motion to direct city staff to determine an appropriate stipend for the interim police chief as he fulfills that interim role.
And also backdate.
And backdated to the date he started in that role.
Yeah.
And that's all we're doing on this one?
Yes,
Okay, so do we have a motion?
that was the motion.
Second?
Second.
Wait a minute, second?
No, I'll let the police officer.
Okay. Let him do it. I'll look at you. All right, all in favor? There you go. Now, we're going to go to open session. We moved on. We are taking 17 and 19 out, and we're going to let the citizens comment first. So we're going to have Gene Martin. You're on 17. Is Gene here? There he is. Okay.
You just said you're taking them out? What-
17 and 20 we are not doing. We're moving on to 18. So do you want to talk on 18 or not at all? I know.
I didn't sign up for 18, actually. I was curious as to why 17 was even on the agenda since there's nothing in the information packet. It's a nice title, but
Yep.
okay.
Okay, so we're not doing that one. That one's done. And Carol, you signed up for 18, and 18 is where we're going. So 18 it is.
Hello, Carol Bracken again, 73 Crown Road. Well, I'm in looking at 18 and 20. I'm guessing that this council has made a decision to bypass the work done by the Home Rule Charter Commission. And I question the legality of that decision. And I would be extremely interested to hear if you've received a written legal opinion from Messer Fort concerning those decisions. I'd also be curious to know if you've requested an Attorney General's opinion on the subject. But legality aside, I would ask you to consider that the charter that was presented to you was created by your constituents. It was created by people who worked very hard to try and create a document that was reasonable, fair, balanced, and consistent with the home rule charters of other cities of similar attributes to the city of Willow Park. I will tell you, we asked that question of Messer Fort, not once, not twice, but many times. And we were assured over and over by the attorneys that you hired that that was the case. Again, it shocks me that you have perhaps made the decision not to follow the advice of the attorneys that you picked. I'd suggest that disregarding the work of your constituents is profoundly disrespectful and indicates a lack of interest of this council in the wishes of its citizenry. I'm appalled. I hope I'm wrong in my assumptions. I hope that's not what you're planning to do. I think that what's at the bottom of this at some level is that this council is afraid of the idea of citizen recall. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Okay, so we are leaving 18 in to discuss and act regarding city council's appointment of a charter commission and assigned tasks. So I want to be sure everybody understands the mayor does not have a vote right now. So I need y'all to go ahead and make the actions that y'all are wanting to make. Motions?
Yeah, I have a couple things on this. Is how many people in the audience would like a data center in Willow Park, Texas? Just raise your hand.
I think we're going off topic.
No. We're tying it in.
We are?
So that's 0 people. What about on council, mayor? Who wants a data center in Willow Park, Texas?
Nope.
No one's raising their hand. Okay, that's kind of what I thought. The number one, the best way for us to protect our city in the future from data centers is putting a chapter in our home rule charter that specifically eliminates data centers from our city. Andy, is that the strongest thing a city can do?
Yes, and let me give some context to that answer. And so, as the Charter Commission knows, council probably knows as well, so a general law city that becomes a home rule municipality is governed by the charter. And the charter process is provided for by the Texas Constitution and in the local government code. So there's a lot of legal backing to support the transition from general law to home rule. And so the way I look at home rule charters is that they become the law and they act as a constitution for the city. That's what they are. And they can only be changed at an election. They cannot be changed from council to council to council. And so if you wanted to add a provision like what you're talking about, prohibiting a land use, putting it in a charter provision, it would cement it within your charter, and only the people could change that at a future election, uniform election.
So I have a question. You're talking about this subject. I see what you're saying, but explain to me how everyone here that was here voted to let Beldine keep the data center language in when you had a citizen stand up and say, just take that out. Take it out. But y'all all voted to keep it in. So you say you're against data centers, and yet you all voted. You could have taken that out. And I explain that legally to me that I don't understand why y'all all sat there and did that when you were called out.
Well, so data centers has become a hot topic over the last couple months. Okay, let's just all agree. No one's really thought about it at all until the last couple months. So I started researching what is the best way that protects our city, period. And it's putting it in the home rule charter. If we are actually serious about making sure data centers can never come to the city of Willow Park, then we need to modify our home rule charter to adopt language that protects our city.
But why did you
Period.
vote to let a developer keep it in?
We didn't. Have you read The Art of the Deal? If you're trying to bring in someone into your city versus them going to a potentially other location, you're going to have to work with them. There's concessions to be made.
I asked him right here, Robert Bell was standing right here, and we were all in the meeting. I think we were short one. We were in the meeting. I asked him, do you plan on putting a data center in? Well, I don't think so. And then a citizen stood up and said, y'all don't vote that. Take it out of the paperwork. So it's like you're contradicting yourself. But maybe I'm too basic. Why are you doing that?
Andy, if this is correct, even if we...
Why'd you do that?
So it's a planned development. That doesn't mean it's set in stone. Am I correct?
Right, so they're two different legal issues. So the charter is set in stone. Zoning can be changed from council to council to council. The issue really, let me put it in a little bit different context. So I kind of analogized a data center to a sexually oriented business, an SOB. So the U.S. Supreme Court, and it's established law everywhere that a city cannot legally prohibit a sexually oriented business from locating in the city because they have First Amendment expression rights, good or bad. And so that means that a city has to have at least one place for land use for an SOB to be, no matter where it is, even it can be in the worst part of town, it would never be located, but it's a possibility. That's not the same as a data center. Data center has no constitutional rights, has no, at this point, no vested rights that could be utilized against the city. And so by putting it in the charter, it would absolutely prohibit them from locating anywhere within the city limits, as opposed to in zoning, which can be changed from council to council to council. And so if for whatever reason, I mean, so as we sit here today, what you're talking about, Mayor, is in the development agreement, in the list of permitted uses in that development agreement, that is a potential use, but I understand that it's also subject to either an SUP or CUP, which the council has legislative discretion to deny. So there's a fail-safe mechanism built in that ordinance, in that development agreement that hasn't been utilized yet, that could accomplish the same result as what you're talking about. But it's an ordinance which can be changed, like from this council or another council, if they wanted to change that zoning, which would affect that development agreement, as opposed to something that's set in stone and only the people at a uniform election day can change. So a little bit, same kind of concept, a little bit different.
So even though they sat here and voted on it and we're okay with it, you're saying there's loopholes they can go to keep our developer from doing a
Yes.
data center?
It's not a loophole, it's a procedure that protects the council and their legislative discretion on what to allow as a zoning use on that property. And that's not uniform across every type of land use. It's an exception to, it's not normal. It's an exception to a right to use property in a certain particular way.
So if he came in and said, I want to do a data center, then they can say no.
Yeah, he would have to apply for either an SUP or CUP. That would be on an agenda. It's within y'all's discretion to allow or deny that. And they would have very little harm that they could complain about.
Carol, you want
So
to?
your risk would be mitigated in that circumstance.
Point of order. Are we on 19 or 20?
18.
18.
I think he's talking, my
Right,
view, he's
so-
talking about a topic to potentially it could be included in the that could be tasked to a new charter commission.
He's
That's what
circling
That's
back.
what I'm
Do that.
hearing.
19 is what talking about changes to the charter. And then
No.
it sounds like you're talking.
No. Well, it could be both.
Yeah.
I would like to caution you against relying too heavily on the idea that you can prohibit a land use in a charter and assume that that will be protected forever and that there is no way an intelligent lawyer, a creative lawyer, couldn't come up with an argument, a novel argument, one that we haven't thought of here tonight, and that would in some form or fashion be a magic bullet to protect you against data centers or anything else. The law is a constantly evolving creature. Putting something in a charter that is novel, and what you're proposing is novel, is actually inviting a clever lawyer of a bunch of data centers around the country who has, over the course, not of the last couple of months, but of the last year, started facing more and more increasing resistance to something that is, at least for the data centers, extremely profitable. And you know they're hiring people to come up with ways to get around exactly the sort of magic bullet you think you're creating. So if you want to sack the entire charter for that, then okay. But please do not let yourself feel like you have come up with the magic bullet that's going to protect Willow Park from data centers. That's foolishness.
You're saying we're making ourselves a target by doing something novel like that.
You know, I will tell you the truth. I don't think that the city of Willow Park, at least at this point in time, has the land mass to make a data center particularly attractive.
True.
That is my personal opinion. I think that what should have happened at the time of the building is that it should have been taken out of the documentation.
Right.
You certainly had enough people here telling you that that was an issue.
True.
To make it something that you should have seriously considered.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think that the data centers are losing around the country right now, and that's not going to get. They're not going to walk away with their tail between the legs. They're going to come up with additional new ideas on how to force it. And if you think a charter statement is going to be a magic bullet, good luck with that. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Andy, if I'm correct, there's really only 3 ways, if we add this to our charter, that it can legally be superseded. Is 1, we create an amendment to the charter, which the citizens of Willow Park would have to vote on over 50% to amend the charter to allow data centers. The second way would be if the state of Texas intervened, which means the House, Senate, and the governor would pass a law overruling the charter. Or the last would be if the federal government did the exact same thing. Is that accurate?
Yeah, so what you're talking about is it's called the doctrine of preemption. So the higher law will always prevail. And so the law is established for home rule charters that rule, whatever the law is that city applies in the charter, controls unless it is clearly and unmistakably preempted by a state statute or a federal statute. So the legislature would have to come in and say, home rule municipalities cannot outlaw data centers in their charter and have to be that clear in order for it to usurp that provision in the charter or anything else in the charter. Anything else in the charter, the legislature would have to clearly speak and prohibit that, which they have done on occasion in very unique circumstances. But the elements of what you're talking about are accurate based upon the law of preemption.
So this has not been done before. No city council has thought of this before from my research, and I've did a lot. This could be something that sets the way to help other cities out that think data centers aren't the right fit for them. And I think this is a great opportunity for our city, Willow Park, Texas, to lead the way into showing our people have a voice. Our people have said data centers aren't for us, and I agree, data centers just aren't for the city of Willow Park. They're great for other places, they are, but just not for Willow Park. And I want to make sure we do everything we can to protect our city and our citizens.
Roy,
am I correct in assuming that you're going to rule, you're going to look at the entire project that we put together for home rule, and you're going to change parts of that home rule? Am I correct in assuming that? Or is what this is a stall action? Because you've got to place this codicil inside home rule, and it won't be ready for the November election, and maybe not the next one either, because it's going to take some additional time and talk. Is this just not a big stall? It's what it appears to be.
I don't know how long this will take because we don't know.
You don't know how long.
No one's ever thought of this.
You've never been there. I understand. It's painfully obvious.
Mayor.
So much you don't understand, and it's very clear.
Yeah.
Why are we
This
having
home rule
open
package
conversation
needs to
on
be
an agenda
presented.
item when he's not signed up to
This
speak?
home rule
Same thing
package
with
needs to be
Mayor Ocker.
presented as it was put together for a vote for the taxpayers. If you want to put together a separate codicil, good luck, go for it. And if you want to try and put it in our package, pass our package and get it there. Don't put it off, and I understand exactly what's happening.
You can't change it for 2 years.
Great.
Okay.
So you leave 2 years of loopholes. So I guess you like 2 years of loopholes for data centers. to figure out a way
Okay,
to
let's
come
just
into
stop right now. Do we need to take a break? Calm down. Let's take a little break.
fine.
If we need to take a break, let's take a break.
No, we're
I
fine.
think what this is very basically, I'm going to break away right now. It's a stall, is all it is. That's all it is. It's painfully obvious that people have eyes to see and ears to hear. And you think you're pulling something off? You're not. You're not. That whole package needs to go just as it is in the November election, period.
Okay. So, I don't know how complicated Eric's novel idea is. We're at a limited time, and I think the commission that put all the hours into it are very passionate. I am passionate about it. I set the council. I legally set the council, the commission to do it. So I understand the passion that they have, that they feel like you're getting very novel ideas to change the charter that was presented. And Andy, you've told us, I don't know how many times, 2-3 times, every time we have this discussion, this charter was presented, legally has to go on. Does it say yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, so it has to go on. So you've already said that, but if we get the council to start being creative and doing all kinds of things with it, we could pass the date that we legally could. We just don't need any more litigation, is my fear, right? And you're supposed to help us stay out of litigation, right? As best you can. You're protecting our city, as I am, as the CEO of the city, right? Let's do that and not get so creative that we could have more legal issues. That's my fear, right?
Yeah, and just so to make sure we're all on the same page, y'all, I think y'all all know this. The last day for this council to order the election for the November election is August 17th.
Right.
Just to be clear, everybody knows, there's got some time before that happens.
I think we have 3 meetings, not a whole lot of meetings. I'll have to go back and look, count the meetings. Not a lot of meetings before that date hits us. So we try to my fear is we're trying to recreate the wheel and being unique and making a statement on a document that's already been presented. And instead of putting it in front of the citizens, just trying to be creative, and it is going to delay. It's going to delay it a whole lot. And I think that's an issue for the citizens, the commission that put it together. I mean, y'all weren't here spending all the hours that they spent on it. You just weren't.
So what you're saying, Mayor, is we just want to have a little sand in the gears of data centers, and inevitably they'll come. Or we could ban them and make sure there's no way they could come.
You know, I'm afraid you're looking for litigation by delaying this and trying to make a statement. I get your statement.
We'll get litigation from trying to, I think 98% of Willow Park is against data centers.
I just don't think we have to change.
Figure out the best way to protect our city.
I get it. I don't think anybody in here is going, let's do a data center. Nobody's doing it, but why are you trying to change a charter?
But again,
legally presented?
If the charter goes to the voters in November, we cannot touch it for 2 years. So that gives you 2 years of loopholes.
Be unique some other way.
Changes, a data center comes in here and runs new council. Guess what? We got a data center. I want to protect us.
You questioned us on the voting of the SUP, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to question you on this process. Why would you not want this?
I have no problem. I don't want data centers. Everybody, does anybody raise your hand if you want a data center? I don't think you change a presented document, Eric, and get all creative. Make your statement a different way. Don't change a charter that everybody's worked on the commission.
Just like when Andy said, there's loopholes, there's ordinances where all they got to do is change a council out. They cannot change a city out because they would have to get over 50% of the vote to supersede or create an amendment to our charter. They're not going to be able to do that.
I don't think that's going to be well received.
Will not allow it.
I just don't want to sit here and argue in front of everybody. I mean, you're being recorded, Eric.
Oh, yeah. And so are you.
Oh, I know that. And I think I'm trying to explain it's been presented, it's legal to go forward, And you changing and making a statement, a political statement, in a document that's been presented.
It's a statement to protect
Well,
our
say it a
city.
different way. Do
Everybody
it a
is scared
different-
of this.
Don't use the charter that's been presented.
But that's the only way to put it in there to give us protection.
I'm not going to
immediately.
sit here and argue with you, Eric. I'm not doing
fine.
it. Roy, I don't think you want to say anything.
I was going to say, we have been told that a magic bullet can get through. I believe Mr. Contreras has offered a bulletproof vest to all known assaults at the moment. Are there legal claims that could come up later? Potentially, but that was with any issue within any city at any point if the law changes. That the law is ever evolving. So by adding this element, you get that bulletproof vest against data centers. Does that mean that the state or the U.S. government comes up with that magic bullet later on that supersedes that? That's potential. But for now, we have the best known defense if we do it. What I also hear is another side trying to protect what they have rightfully and hard work have spent to do, which I absolutely believe. And I do not believe that is the intention to go rewrite a new charter, a new constitution, a new Magna Carta for our city. I believe what we need to do is look at it as this has passed the House. Now you go to the Senate, and now we get everything created and we get it done correctly. And because initially we had talked about doing this for a November, and we had asked, why do we need to get this here? Issues like this are what come up, and this is a one initial shot before we get 2 years at it. And so that's where I want to make sure that this is right. Let's get this right. Let's not be worried about whose work or whose credit. Let's get it all good together. This will be on a ballot for someone to vote for in November.
We should have
How
done
we
it
get there
for
is-
May. All our documents
We should have
now out
done
of
Squaw
date.
Creek for May. We should have done all sorts of things for May. If you have your name attached on a petition for Squaw Creek getting rid of, you took a legal action to delay something from being put on a ballot in May. That is
Who are
the
you
same
talking
thing.
to? Are you going to?
I'm talking to everybody. It's the same legal procedure that we got to at this point because we want to make sure
Hmm.
that the legalities were correct. Am I not right? Like the problem was that with Squaw Creek is that there were things that were left out. It was too broad. It did not cover everything.
That's
so
very
we
true.
took a legal petition, a legal form of conveyance, and we delayed that from a May ballot and moved it to November so that we could get language right. We could bring it before the people.
Citizens
we now
could
have
vote,
a constitution. We now have a constitution that sits in front of us, and we just want to push it through. We've had legal concerns. We've now heard it. It has also been moved to November for the same issue. So if you have your name on a ballot like that and you have your name this way, then to me, in both cases, you've taken the legal precedents, the steps to get there to make sure that your city was protected. And there's nothing wrong with either one of those in either cases. And so therefore, I'm saying if we're going to continue to do this, if we're going to continue to try to put forth the best constitution for our city, why not have the best bulletproof vest against the thing that 98% of our citizens don't want? Let's get that element added. I'm not looking to make massive overhauls to this thing. I believe y'all have done a great job in putting together a legal document. There are dates that need to be changed.
Right.
We cannot do that because we do not have an existing committee to do so. And so that is the point of this, is if we can get in there, fix dates, and we can add protection to our city, I think that is something that when it comes to a November ballot that everybody can be grateful for and see. And then we let the votes fall where they may. We may think we've produced the greatest document the world has ever seen. And we're like, wow, we have done such a great job. Everybody's done a great job. But if it doesn't pass a vote, it doesn't matter. So let's get it with one more element that I think strengthens your cause to pass this.
So why didn't y'all come to meetings and do this
We did.
wonderful creative?
We did.
You did
We
not
did.
say data center, put it in there.
No one knew it was a hot topic.
Why didn't
You're just
the Home Rule Committee put it in?
Look what happened at Commissioners.
Calm down. Calm down.
I'd like to say a complete truth. This town cannot block any data center. The county is fighting with all its might to fight the data center and move it away from it.
Madam Mayor, we need order. He has not signed up to speak. I apologize, but there is order of decorum in this office. I'm
Doesn't
sorry.
feel like it.
Same thing goes with her.
That's your job to control.
That is your job.
Okay, Roy. You didn't sign up, Judge Roy, you didn't sign up to speak,
And the same
so
thing with
no one's
Carol.
going to let
And I
you
apologize,
speak.
Carol, you've spoken
I'm sorry.
multiple times. You had your 3 minutes, and I apologize, but that's it.
33 seconds,
Okay. On the first time or the second time?
the second time.
Okay.
All right, Carol, move
So
fast.
number one, charters are not intended to be a document that manages every small detail of a city's existence. It is intended to be a framework. That's number one. Number two, if you pass the charter and it has a right of recall, if for some benighted reason this council decides to overcome zoning so that they can then turn around and create data centers, then there is an excellent tool, the tool of recall, so that every council member that voted for something so foolish could be voted out of office. And I personally think that is an extremely strong, citizen-led tool to help us keep our government accountable. And you don't have to have anything in the about data centers in the charter to make that happen.
I guess the counter argument to that is if a council were to adopt a data center and you then recalled them, the data center's right there.
Yeah.
The damage is done.
Then you have a new council that can take care of it.
No, they can't. Once they get it in there, it's done.
You know, I disagree. I disagree. And I think, Mr. Messer, I would love for you to.
Yeah, let me,
counsel-
so what you're talking about, I hear both sides of this. So let's just talk about what that would look like in practice. So if there's a charter that's passed and it does not have a data center prohibition in it, which is what you're advocating for, but there's the right to recall in the
Actually,
charter.
that is not what I am advocating.
Okay, that's what I understood you to say.
You are mistaken.
Okay, explain how I'm.
My position is that I think that legally, what needs to go to the voters is the charter that was created and presented by the commission.
I understand.
This council then made the decision
Right,
to
but,
dissolve the commission, so that now there is no one that can go back
Okay.
legally and make changes.
right, I understand that.
And
So,
I think that is the problem that we face. Now, and I will tell you that I do not think that this is the fatal error that Mr. Contreras and I think several of you think it is. I do think that messing around with a presented charter creates significant legal risk for the
Okay.
city.
all right, so let me go back to what the example was we were talking about, which is the charter is presented as is with the right to recall in it, which most charters have, and that is a very powerful right, as you recognize, but it has no prohibition for a data center. So it's passed as is. There's another council that changes, data center is allowed to come here. And so your solution is for the next council to, by recall, to change that. The problem with that, if a data center is allowed to come here on some land use, and they have what's called a permit under Chapter 245 of the Local Government Code, it's a vested right that we can't change. So once it's allowed, you're going to have, you talk about significant litigation, that's what I do all the
I
time,
understand.
significant land use
I
litigation
understand that,
and battle
but
disputes.
I think that the people in this room are so invested in their position that I think the mere fear of a recall would be enough to keep them
Understand.
from doing something
Sure.
so politically
Yeah.
stupid, for want of a better term.
It's the example I said. If a data center were to come in, run candidates here, beat us all, they have a secret agenda, guess what? We got a data center before you can recall them. That's the fear. This puts it to where now the citizens get to vote whether they want to amend the charter to dissolve the section of data centers.
I thought you already explained that to me. Y'all are sitting here and voted for the developer to leave it in the document that they can have a data.
Under an SUP.
No, under an SUP, it is not.
That's right. So explain to me, I'm trying to understand that. So you left it in there, but they can do it. No, they can't do it. So same thing, if anybody tries to come put a development and data center in, right? Same thing that you have this developer. You can't put them in. So why are you changing the charter?
It's not the same thing. It's
How
not the
does it
same
work?
thing, because what your analogy does not recognize what's the vested right. The vested right is in the development agreement and the land use that has an option for a data center, but controlled by a later CUP that the council has legislative discretion to deny. So there is a fail-safe mechanism built in that can usurp that vested right, as opposed to if it's in a charter, it's just outlawed. And you're right, it would take a lawsuit to challenge that provision as being unconstitutional,
Right.
which is very difficult to do. So it's presumptively valid and legal, has to be arbitrary and capricious, which is a very high standard to meet. And normally that's very difficult for plaintiffs to meet.
And I think the citizens of Willow Park would stand behind the city in a lawsuit that a data center is trying to find their way to weasel themselves in here. 100%. I don't see a
Anyway,
citizen that says no.
Give my opinion, so.
I don't think anybody sitting here agrees to have a data center, but getting creative with the charter that's been presented and ready to go, I think is the issue.
Then, yeah, so here's my motion, okay? My motion is on number 18, for the city council and the mayor to appoint a charter commission with a specific goal of amending several items for dates and other things that, are out of date now, but also creating a chapter or a provision or whatever we need to call it, Andy, in order to protect our city from data centers. And I would say that when we talked, the council would appoint 12 commissioners and the mayor would appoint 3 commissioners to make it a equally representative commission.
Oh, so explain this to everybody, because you and I have talked about this, Andy. By doing what is happening right now, I ask you for any kind of case, anybody's ever done this, what they're doing is so creative, not talking about data center, that is extra, but what's happening right now, you've never seen this before, or you have?
It's definitely unusual.
Never happened before, in your experience?
I don't know if it's never happened before.
In your experience.
I haven't seen it.
So we're in uncharted waters by taking a charter that was presented legally by the state of Texas, has to go to the voters in November 3rd, right? We've been talking
I don't know
about
what the
that.
date, whatever the uniform election date is in November. But
No, I
yes.
think it's November 3rd.
Okay.
So by doing this and being very creative with it, my concern is you're going to run right past your August 17th. You've got to have it done, finished, and you've got a whole new set of people. I get it. You're saying that we're going to have new 15, 14, whatever people that we're going to have. You've got to get them together and do what this commission has worked so many months to create it. Now you're going to change it really fast to get it out there.
I don't think anyone's going to undo what they've done, and I don't think that's what the idea is here.
Then send it on.
Again,
But the
are you saying you don't want the data, you want data, you don't want
I don't
data center
need it-
protection? That's
I don't
fine.
need it
That's-
in the
that's
charter.
your statement now, is
You
don't
know,
want
come
data
on,
center
calm
protection.
down. Let's just calm down. Just settle down.
I'm settled.
The thing is, I have no vote in this room. So you make a motion and then we'll move forward because that's what y'all are going to do. Pretty much what you're saying. So go ahead and make your motion.
Already did.
The motion's on the floor.
Second.
Okay, Smith is making a second, and all in favor, there you go. Okay. Now we're moving on 20, and yes, Jean, you have signed up. You get to talk on 20.
I would love to. I'd like to find out what other elements.
Come up here so we can hear you. I'm sorry.
The clock starts. I'd like to actually find out what the council is proposing as amendments to the charter.
There-
I know what to talk about.
There's dates in there that obviously have happened in the past.
Okay. So you're saying that by your motion, you are limiting the scope of a charter to simply add a chapter on protections against data centers and amend or correct dates that need to be corrected for consistency. Is that what I understand?
I think there was a couple of other things that I've highlighted in there that were also dependent on some other dates and some other things that were not aligned with
That's what I was asking for. What are the specifics that you are,
I don't have them with me.
okay? Well,
Because
in that
again,
case, what I would
because
suggest
again,
is.
the intent is not to do that. The intent is to create data center protection.
Okay, you're talking about a limited scope.
That's what the motion was.
Okay. I might suggest that you might just appoint the members to the previous commission so that nobody has to learn anything new and get this done quickly, or you will miss the November deadline, the August 17th deadline to have it on the November ballot. Certainly that isn't part of your intent, is it?
The intent is not to miss the November deadline. The intent is to get this done as fast as we physically can. But again, we're going to something that we've never done before. No one's thought of. So that's the key, is no one's thought of this before. So this is brand new. We want to protect our city. Because again, what happens if a data center starts scaling smaller? Where they buy the hospital?
I understand the what if, but it is a what if. And I will just express that there's an obvious concern that wandering into uncharted legal waters as far as, can you create a commission to pick up a proposed charter from one commission before it's been voted on? The language in the state law doesn't clearly show that as an avenue that's available. Is that correct?
Yeah, so if we can go to item 20, happy to answer that question. Or talk about that.
We are on item 20.
That's
Okay.
where we are.
Okay. So, statute says the charter prepared by the Charter Commission shall be submitted to the qualified voters of the municipality. An election to be held, it goes on the uniform election date, and the governing body shall provide for the submission of the charter at the election to the extent it's legal. And so, yes, you have to call the election, you have to submit the charter and right now, it's on the November, it would be on the uniform election date in November, and they gave you the last date to do that, which is, I believe, August 17th.
It would seem to me.
That's what
And help me with this one, Andy, if you will.
Sure.
It would seem to me that to attain the goal that you're stating you want, reconstitute the commission, send the charter back to that commission, then there is no question about multiple commissions with direction to do specific changes, and that can be accomplished, I would guess, within 2 weeks.
So can I do the proclamation
That's
again
just
as
the
the
thought.
mayor to reinstate them?
I'm good with your proposal, but again, I don't want us to create legal issues on top of it.
Right. And so here is what I guess I would say to that is, will the former charter commission, who, it doesn't sound like they want to change anything, and I think 2 of them have spoken tonight that they said they don't want to change anything, they're not going to add this. So again, it's.
I think they said that because I
don't
think they are prohibited from changing anything by their interpretation of state law.
But if we have the opinion.
I don't think it's a matter of desire, want, or anything. It's a matter of interpretation of state law is, we have proposed a thing and given it to the council, and that's it. That goes to the ballot. If the council gives it back to the commission, and again, this is some new water to get into also, that is a possible way to adjust the content.
Yeah, I guess the thing is, there is no commission right now, so we have to create one.
Carol, you signed up to speak also.
I did.
You did.
Please don't misinterpret what I've said. I did not say that I was unwilling to consider modifications. But I do strongly believe that the only body that has the right to modify the charter that has already been presented is the commission, the one that you, this body, recently dismissed. I think if you want to consider changes, you have to recommission the commission and give us the proposals and let the commission make that decision. The statute doesn't give, there's nothing in that statute that permits what's being proposed here. And if you want to save the city from litigation, I suggest that would be the avenue. If all you want to do is say no data centers and change some dates, well, then what are you worried about? Secondly, as I've spoken to this body on several occasions back in February, you raised legal concerns about the charter. I've come back before you several times since then asking what the status of those legal questions was. I would remind you that by raising those questions, you've raised questions in the minds of your constituents, and they deserve to know what those concerns were and how they were resolved, in addition to all the rest of this mess. Because if we're heading into an election, then the people in this city deserve to know if those concerns were well-founded, be they concerns about the charter itself or about the process that Mr. Messer's firm put together that we followed. They deserve to know the resolution of those issues. And please do not mischaracterize us as saying we don't want to make changes. But we have a very limited time, and we have a very limited statute. And now's not the time to create novel changes and novel solutions that are not supported by statute, legal precedent, or AG opinion background. Novel opinions cost money. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're on 20. Update from the city attorney, including charter legal issues. Which one? Yeah, they did on 18. We're jumping to 20 now, including a legal charter, legal issues, and consider approval of ordinance calling the special election for November 3rd. Get this moved on for the purpose of consideration approval of the home rule charter. That's the goal. That's where we're trying to get. Where are we, Andy?
I think we're probably on 21. That's what I think I've given my views, so I don't think there's anything else to do, unless the council wants to vote.
Shall we? What?
You still have time to bring it
Yeah.
back.
Should we table this item for the next meeting so that way we can understand what a timeline would be for us to, at least from your firm, when we think we could have
Sure.
the protections in place that we would need,
Okay.
that our city could lead
I understand.
the state of Texas?
And then we need to start looking at how many actual meetings we have before this election, before the August 17th, sorry.
From today, you would have three.
3.
Yeah.
2 in
Yeah.
July and 1.
3
in
meetings to have.
August 11th, I think.
That's, yeah, 3 meetings, that's it.
I did sign up to speak on the 20th also.
Thought you just did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's a couple little details in there. I pointed out the last time a similar device was presented to you that the list of affected voting precincts needed to be updated. That's one thing.
450.
I am, at this point, a little concerned you have taken the action to create a new commission, yet you have no timeline for when that commission is going to be created and stood up, and I think time is short.
Right. 3 meetings, It has to be called within 3 meetings. So we've had discussion. It's only discussion. There's no action on this one. So I guess we're moving to 21. City manager comments. Tony, you got things to say.
I did. I just wanted to thank the Public Works Department. The water leak that we had on Squaw Creek on June 10th, they did a phenomenal job. They stayed out there for all hours until they got that done. And I just want to thank all their hard work on that. This was not on the agenda, forgive me, but I also wanted to give a shout out to the police department. So there was a missing child that was last week and Thursday, and that they did find the child, and they were able to get him back to his parents within 21 minutes. So,
Well, surprised. Didn't know a thing about that. Is that it?
yes.
Okay. So the mayor and city council comments. Does the council have any comments?
I just got one on, so we had planned on doing the councilman and coffee thing the first Friday of each month. The 3rd is a holiday, so we won't be doing it on that day. The next day would be an option is the 10th. I am on vacation the 10th, so I was going to see if one of y'all had the option of doing on the 10th or council, or we can just skip July and move into August. You just need one.
I'll check my calendar.
I'd have to check my calendar too.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll follow up on that. I don't have anything else to add tonight on my side. Community interest. Tony, you want to talk about Spark again?
It's going to be on the 4th. There's a little bandit sign that's right outside of the front door that you can check. It's going to be at the district. So it's for the evening. There'll be a parade, and there's a hot dog eating contest and fun things. And so music and fun, and we encourage a great family event. So we encourage everyone to come.
Okay. Anybody have any future agendas?
Yes, I do. I would like to add for our next one to create a discussion action on creating subdivision regulations for our ETJ, specifically ways right now until we get it into our home rule charter to make sure we have mechanisms in place to keep data centers out of our ETJ as well.
And
Alrighty then.
we tabled the parks dedication thing too. I'd like to get that back. We tabled it because you weren't here, so.
And then the ICE
Yes.
agenda item needs to go right back on.
Yep.
And then do you need the ordinance one back on?
Yes.
Yes.
You want to put back on? Yep.
Okay. Does anybody want to make a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Good night. Thank you.